Hello, I'm Oliver Frljić, theater director from Zagreb, Croatia, and in upcoming season I will direct play based on Fjodor Michailowitsch Dostojewski's one of the most known novels, Brothers Karamasow, in Deutsches SchauSpielHaus, Hamburg. It's difficult to say what is the oldest memory I have about the theater. There are plenty of memories, but I remember more my feeling and understanding of the theater at the beginning of this encounter that now lasts more than 20 years. At the beginning, I was more naive and not so infected with the skepticism which became part of my theatrical being in the last 20 and something years. So now I don't, my gaze in the theater is not so innocent. The way how I look, what's going on the stage, is more to see what's happening before anything happens on the stage. So what I look is actually how the things are represented, what is missing, what is the absent in the moment when I'm observing something on the stage. Yeah, I think that in theater both those things are equally important. The things that we see as well as those that we do not see, which are hidden beneath the performance we're watching at the certain moment. It's also very difficult to single out just one aspect, but I think that encounter of people and the community that we manage to create in the process of work and in the process of playing a certain performance is the most interesting thing and important thing for me. I'm trying also to question my theatrical language all the time, so not to get stuck in a certain forms of representation, but really to see like what I choose to stand for something else on the stage, how, from which angle I want to represent a certain reality and so on. Those are the questions that are most important for me, and I also think that those are the questions which are the most political one in the theater. As I said, I'm gonna stage a Russian novel, Brothers Karamasow, and this novel is definitely not directly linked to the present situation and the crisis we are experiencing. And to be honest, I'm not planning to force this novel to speak about the present situation. I think it speaks about a thing which is part of this situation on the one layer. So it is a kind of existential crisis which is the part of this novel, and it is the part of the society and the world and the time in which we live right now. So I'm not gonna push material any further in this direction. Anyway, I don't believe in the theater where we can understand everything. I think that metaphor by its very nature always leaves something unexplained, something that escapes logic of understanding. And with this play in this time, I think something similar will happen. This novel, this text will have its own encounter with the present reality, and we will see how this clash will end up. During the Corona crisis, I was in Zagreb most of the time. At the moment, I'm in Germany. And beside Corona pandemic, we also had two very strong earthquakes. So it was very strange situation. On the one hand, we were not allowed to leave our houses because of maintaining a social distance. On the other hand, there was a lot of fears of potential next earthquakes. So basically, last 2 and I don't know how months, I was exposed to those two things, and it was really strange experience. It gave me a lot of time to question, like what I do, how I do, what should be a next step. Should I proceed with this profession, or should I start to do something else? I don't know if all those questions were fruitful or paralyzing at certain points, but the whole situation gave me a lot of time to think about all those things. The second part of the question is like how the corona crisis was handled in Croatia and in comparison to Germany. Of course, that we have this very problematic government that was ruling the country for last 25 years, most of the time, and we have a history of democratic deficit as a young democracy. So our government, of course, tried to co-opt this crisis, and since we have elections in less than 1 month, they were using very much this whole crisis and different restrictions that were imposed in order to like an instrument for a campaign, also like representing the success in struggle with corona as a success of only one party, but not a society as a whole. So it was very interesting experience, and of course it was interesting also to see neighboring countries in Balkan and how they were reacting to this crisis. To be honest, I don't want to be part of this struggle, because I think it's not easy to take one side. It is very problematic what's happening in terms of question of constitutional rights that have been suspended, and what happens further with the state of exception. On the other hand, this is the discourse that has been already very much hijacked by right wing, and for me it is really the question how to find the right answer to those questions where it seems that there is no right answer. We either can struggle for our constitutional rights and freedoms, and by doing it avoid the solidarity with those most risky social groups. On the other hand, we can just ignore a state of exception that has been introduced and think exclusively about safety and society and so on. So it seems like there is no right or simple answer at this point. The angle depends. The answer to this question depends very much from the angle from which we look and analyze a current situation. So I would not side with any of those two sides at the moment, because I think it's the question is much more complex, and it will take some time, and only thing that we can do at the moment is to have ongoing dialogue about the tension between those two things and way how to deal with them.